Have you ever wondered why some stories explode across every headline, while others disappear faster than your Wi-Fi when you need it the most? Why Meghan Markle's avocado toast becomes global news, but the moment conversations shift toward powerful circles, old controversies, or uncomfortable narratives, suddenly the entire media goes silent. Let's talk about that. And fair warning, once we walk into this conversation, you're going to notice patterns that were hiding in plain sight for years. So grab a snack, hit that subscribe button, and let's take this ride together. Picture this. A calm Saturday night. No drama. Just vibes. Everyone's chilling, until Saturday Night Live decides to drop a joke so sharp, so unexpected, that it slices straight through Meghan Markle's public image like warm butter. The audience laughs. The internet glitches. And somewhere in Montecito, allegedly, the energy shifts. But let's slow down. This isn't about a single joke. This is about why that joke hit so hard. Because jokes on SNL aren't random. They come from the conversations people are already whispering about. They're reflections of what's in the cultural air, the things no one says out loud, until comedy says it for them. So Colin Jost walks in, soft-spoken, harmless, the human equivalent of sorry, did I sneeze too loud? Nobody expects chaos. Then he drops it. America keeps Meghan Markle. Silence. Then laughter. The kind of laughter that says, oh, he went there. Meghan reportedly did not find it funny. And then he doubles down. Only if she deletes her Instagram again. The room erupts. But here's where the internet lost its collective mind. People felt like the joke was hinting at something. Something deeper. Something that's been bubbling under Meghan's narrative for years. And right when the conversation peaked, old photos, old rumors, old narratives from Meghan's pre-royal life suddenly resurfaced online. Not confirmed, not verified, but enough to make people start asking, why now? Because timing online? Never an accident. And here's the twist. Meghan didn't address them. No clarifications, no denials, no PR statements. Just silence. And silence, especially in the PR world, can feel louder than any headline. But this entire situation reveals something bigger than Meghan, bigger than SNL, bigger than any resurfaced rumor. It reveals how public narratives are shaped, which stories get spotlighted, and which ones get quietly buried. Because Meghan's image has always been tightly curated. A story of determination, resilience, reinvention, and rising above challenges. And any crack, any inconsistency, sparks curiosity. Not because people want scandal, but because people want clarity. And that's where this entire situation becomes fascinating. SNL didn't expose anything, but they did spotlight the contradictions the public already sensed. And once you shine a light on something the media usually tiptoes around, conversations get real, fast. So what happens now? We're only at the beginning. This story isn't about yachts or jokes or photos. It's about control. Control of image, control of narrative, control of what gets discussed, and what gets ignored. If you're still here, drop a comment. I need to know who survived this deep dive with me. Hit like so more people join the conversation. And if you haven't subscribed yet, come on, don't leave me ranting to the algorithm.
But jokes fade fast, right? People laugh, the timeline moves on, and memes recycle within 48 hours. Except this time, the conversation didn't move. It expanded. Because the moment the joke landed, something strange started happening. The internet got louder. The media got quieter. And Meghan? She vanished from the narrative entirely. That silence? That wasn't normal. Not for her. Not for any celebrity who's built an empire on image control. Let's break down what the silence actually meant. Medium white star, the strange quiet, when everyone who usually talks doesn't. Normally, when anything remotely negative involving Meghan hits the internet, three things happen instantly. Heavy checkmark PR statements. Heavy checkmark sources close to Meghan say, articles. Heavy checkmark inspirational quotes posted within 48 hours. But this time, nothing. Not a whisper. Not a leak. not a friendly journalist running to her defense. And that's the first red flag. Because in celebrity media, silence isn't peace. Silence is strategy. Silence means the team is regrouping, reassessing, calculating every possible angle. And the longer the silence lasts, the more you realize. This wasn't a joke that simply offended her. This was a joke that rattled the narrative. Medium white star, the internet starts digging, and a new question emerges. While Meghan stayed silent, the internet didn't. People began asking, why did SNL choose that angle? Why did it hit so specifically? What were they really hinting at? Suddenly the conversation shifted from the joke to the pattern. Because SNL wasn't the first time Meghan became the center of a narrative storm. It was just the first time a mainstream comedy platform put a spotlight on an uncomfortable topic. The gap between her public persona and the unanswered questions in her rise to fame. And whether fair or not, the curiosity exploded. But here is where the story takes a left turn. The media, who usually loves covering Meghan from every angle, even what toast she eats, went silent. Complete blackout. No analysis. No think pieces. No experts on news channels. Nothing. And that silence told the public something even scarier. If the press isn't touching this, even for clicks, something is off. Medium white star, the palace's NON reaction. A mystery on its own. Think about it. The palace usually reacts or hints, or at least sends signals behind the scenes. But here, not even a raised eyebrow. No rebuttal. No clarification. Not even the classic sources say Buckingham Palace refuses to comment. Just empty space. It's almost as if everyone decided this was a conversation safer left alone. Which raises the question. Why? What exactly made this topic too radioactive for the institutions normally eager to jump in? The lack of response became the response. Medium white star, the internet's obsession, not with Meghan, but with the story. What people were actually reacting to wasn't Meghan herself. It was the contradiction. The mystery. The missing pieces. Because Meghan's public image has always been airtight. Carefully curated. Beautifully packaged. Empowering. Inspiring. And honestly, that's why people liked her. But when even one part of a spotless narrative gets questioned, even slightly, people start wondering, what else was curated? Which parts were real? Which parts were polished? And that's the detail SNL accidentally, or intentionally, triggered. They didn't expose Meghan. They exposed curiosity. And curiosity? That spreads faster than scandals. Medium white star, Meghan and Harry, shifting energy, shifting body language. Then the cameras caught something subtle. Harry and Meghan, the couple always glued together, always smiling, always united, suddenly weren't showing up together as much. No hand-holding. No playful interactions. No against-the-world vibe. Just distance. Quiet. Awkward, visible distance. Now again. There's nothing confirmed. We're not claiming drama or conflict. But when a couple known for unity becomes a couple known for silence, people notice. And in the entertainment world, body language speaks louder than press releases. Medium white star, the real story. Control versus curiosity. Here's the twist. This whole situation? It was never about one joke, one rumor, or one resurfaced photo. The real tension is between the story Meghan wants the world to know, vs. the story the public thinks might have more layers. And when a celebrity's origin story feels too perfect, too neatly edited, too cinematic, the audience starts hunting for the director's cut. Because people don't want flawless. People want truth. Or at least transparency. And right now, there are more questions than answers. Medium white star, the door that SNL cracked open. SNL didn't reveal anything new. But they did something more powerful. They gave permission for the questions to come back. The questions that had been floating for years. The questions the media ignored. The questions the internet whispers. And once those questions come back, closing that door becomes almost impossible. We're not in a scandal. We're in a shift. A narrative shift. A public perception shift. A celebrity mythology shift. And we're only watching the beginning. This is where we step behind the curtain. Because every public figure, Meghan included, has two lives. The life you see, and the life that manages what you see. And when SNL cracked open even the tiniest opening in Meghan's narrative, the machinery behind her image began shifting. Fast, quietly, almost invisibly. Let's explore that machinery. Medium White Star 1. The Unseen War. Meghan's PR strategy versus the internet's curiosity. Meghan Markle isn't just a celebrity. She's a brand. A brand built on her empowerment, her resilience, a reinvention, a narrative control. But here's the problem no influencer, celebrity, or royal can escape. You can control your image, but you can't control your audience's imagination. And after SNL, people weren't just reacting. They were investigating. They were connecting dots that were never meant to touch. And Meghan's PR team? They suddenly had a massive problem. The internet wasn't attacking Meghan. The internet was questioning the narrative. And that is a much bigger threat. Because narratives don't break dramatically. They crack quietly. One joke. One rumor. One silent reaction. One shift in body language. That's all it takes. Medium White Star 2. The Meghan-Harry dynamic, when silence feels like a statement. Let's talk about Meghan and Harry, respectfully, safely, analytically. We're not talking drama. We're not talking scandal. We're talking energy, presence, public behavior. The couple who once stood shoulder to shoulder against the world suddenly looked more like two people standing near each other, not with each other. Again, nothing confirmed. But perception matters. Because when the internet already has questions, every micro-expression becomes a clue. Every cancelled appearance becomes a theory. Every quiet moment becomes a headline. And what did Meghan and Harry give the public during this moment? Distance. Silence. And that quiet discomfort that feels like someone found the missing page in a story. Medium White Star 3. The palace's silence. Not weakness, strategy. Here's the twist everyone misses. The palace doesn't stay silent because they're scared. The palace stays silent because silence is power. Silence creates mystery. Mystery creates distance. Distance protects the institution. And Meghan's story, whether fair or unfair, creates distraction. The palace knows that jumping into the noise only amplifies it. So their strategy is simple. Let the noise burn itself out. Let the narrative collapse under its own weight. Do nothing. Say nothing. Control everything. That's royal PR in a nutshell. Medium White Star 4. The media triangle, when the press chooses what not to tell. Here's the biggest revelation of all. The media loves Meghan Markle. Not because they like her, but because she sells. Every headline. Every photo. Every debate. Every think piece. Clicks. Money. Traffic. So when the media suddenly goes silent, that's not natural. That's not accidental. That's not forgetfulness. That's choreography. There are stories the media amplifies. And there are stories the media buries. And what determines which story goes where? Power. Influence. Connections. Risks. Legal teams. Public sensitivities. Reputation protection. Meghan isn't the core of this silence. The system is. And SNL unintentionally stepped right into the cracks of that system. Medium White Star 5. Meghan's biggest challenge. The past you can't edit. Here's the truth. Meghan's rise is incredible. Inspirational. A Hollywood to royalty arc no one saw coming. But every compelling public figure faces the same obstacle. Your past has no delete button. Only delay. You can rebrand. You can reframe. You can retell the story, but you can't erase it. And when old narratives, confirmed or not, resurface, the question the public asks isn't, "Is this true?" The question they ask is, "Why does this feel like something she didn't want discussed?" Because perception is reality. And perception is Meghan's biggest opponent. Medium white star **6. The real battle, not Meghan versus media, but myth versus memory **. This entire situation comes down to one thing. The myth of who Meghan is supposed to be. vs. the memory of who she used to be. Every celebrity faces this clash eventually. Are the myth they built? Are the myth their fans support? Are the myth their critics attack? Are the myth the media profits from? But Meghan's myth was always bigger than most. The American girl who became royalty. The outsider who won the palace. The modern princess rewriting history. And any crack in that myth, even a tiny one, feels enormous. Because the bigger the myth, the harder the fall. And right now, the myth is wobbling. Not collapsing. Not breaking. But shifting. And that shift is what everyone is feeling. Medium white star 7. So what happens now? The road ahead. Here's the truth, without drama, without speculation. Meghan is not being exposed. She's being re-evaluated. Her story is being inspected. Her narrative is being questioned. Her myth is being redefined. And this is the stage every major public figure enters eventually. The reassessment era. Some survive it. Some evolve from it. Some fight it. Some fade because of it. Which one will Meghan be? That's the story part 4 will uncover. The future of Meghan Markle's image, her PR strategy, and her next chapter. Because this was only the storm.